I forgot what good news sounds like. And I just got some. And oh my gosh. Couldn't we all use some? I know I'm not the only one. We really could use some good news, couldn't we? And I'm not talking about the news. I'm talking about life. My friend Denver is in Jerome right now for a film festival. If you happen to be in Jerome, I don't know who's subscribed to this channel, and I don't care. Maybe one or two people from Jerome or even Arizona at the most. I have no idea. And I looked it up. And Jerome has become this, I mean, you know, the writing was on the wall. When I was recording, I recorded and mixed part of Rural Mortis, partially in Cottonwood and partially in Jerome, at Mitch's old place, where I lived for about a month. And there were no windows in the window. It was sheets, and I don't think it was really quite tacked down real well, you know. And you just had like, so you could, you know, there was like, just like, there was no space between you and the canyon. It was cool. I had another friend who had a place where you could stick your fingers in the wall, the cracks of the wall, and like fit your fingers, and you could see the valley through the crack in the wall. And then the Sotheby's sign started kind of popping up, and now the Little Daisy Mansion. I'd never even heard of it. You know, I used to stay at the Little Daisy Motel in Cottonwood all the time. He's like, I'm staying at the Little Daisy Mansion. I'm like, what in the world is that? Right? And you look at the festival. I looked it up, and it's like, it's a festival. It's not just like, you know, so you can't just, I mean, I lived in the parking lot of the Catholic Church, all right? So, I mean, there was no way I was going to have $75 for the cheap seats at a film festival. But the point I'm trying to make is if you're there, go support this guy. His movie is playing tomorrow afternoon, I think 3 o'clock on the 9th of September, 3 p.m. at Spook Hall, if you happen to be involved in any way in the film festival. If you're not, if you see Denver, tell him I said hi. You definitely give this guy, you know, the welcoming treatment. I don't even know what that is, but you know, give it to this guy. Give this guy your attention, your affection. You know, I mean, I don't know. That sounds kind of weird, but I don't mean. I just mean you know, hey man, play us another song. Great artist, great songwriter, better guitar player than me. So, but he's having a good time. You're treating him well already, and I'm like, I got this message, and I'm like, I haven't received this kind of. I don't even open messages from most people. I mean, I don't, you know, I do, but I mean, there are people. I'm like, I'm not opening your message. I know what it says. I've been listening to it for decades. I don't need to hear it again. I could write it for you. You want me to write? I'll send me the message. I'll write it for you, so that make sure that you know you don't sound like an idiot. You just bore me some more with your sanctimony. I don't ever make a lot of messages like videos. I couldn't help on the last couple because I can't stand anymore. I am absolutely finished listening to Christians talk about how you're never supposed to listen to anything but fake Christian music. I can't listen to it anymore. I'm not. It has to be said. You're idolaters. Yeah, I understand. Stay away from gangster rap, death metal, demonic idiot pop, and the like. I get it. Of course. No kidding. Okay. But you're unthinking. I'm not even going to bring it up. I can't talk about it anymore. I'm sick of listening to it. I had to address the issue. But I'm making this video because I'm actually getting some good news. Jerome didn't keep me there. I was there for a few days last fall. Spiritual warfare events just kind of prevented it. God didn't let it happen. He didn't open the door. There was no spiritual warfare. I went to Texas, which is where I kind of got my stuff figured out. I considered going back and dealing with. I got ripped off by people. You know, people have cursed themselves with death and hell. They have no idea. To win a non-existent eagle battle with somebody who's not even against you, and you're gonna curse your entire family to death and hell so that you can win a non-existent ego battle with me. Because if I have to, he's like, God's like, get out of there, get out of the country. He told me to come back here. This place I'm at now, is not listed. It was never listed on any Mexican real estate sites. It's half the price of a crappy apartment in a ghetto somewhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is the only place you could possibly afford to live because the estates have gone through the roof in price. So God called me out of there. He called me down here. But I don't know what good news looks like. I haven't gotten any good news. I don't even remember the last time I got any good news. I can't even tell you if I've ever gotten any. You know, I got the discography to prove it. So I got some good news, and I just wanted to say, so if you're in the central Verde Valley area of Jerome in Jerome, and you happen to be, in Jerome, because Denver's going to be in town for a few days, so he'll be on the steps. It's obviously a small little town, a wonderful place, and he's kind of got the new blood feel to it, and it's just so great to hear. It's so great to hear that somebody's having a good time. I can't even tell you what a relief it is. Like, oh, somebody's having fun. What's that, right? So give this guy a time of day if you happen to be in Jerome. Look for Denver Williams. His movie's Hood Cream. I've seen it. It's funny. It's good. He's an artist. Give him the time of day if you happen to be in Jerome. If you see him on the steps, tell him I said hi. We communicate. He's one of the few people in the States I still communicate with. And it's not, I would communicate with more. But people are, it is what it is. And God led me down here for some reason. I'm the only gringo in town, I don't really have any friends down here, you know what I mean? But you can't rest while you're simmering in bad news. You can hold on, but it's hard to rest. Relax is a lazy word. It implies margaritas on the beach, which, if you're not an alcoholic or prone to drunkenness, is not a bad thing. But relaxing and resting is not the same thing, and it's hard to rest when there's no good news in your heart. And so God is really, there's rightness in a lot of stuff with some people. There's wrongness in more stuff. There was no way to stay in Jerome last year. There was just no way. God kicked me out. Time to move along. He didn't let me stay. Kicked me out's a little overstated. But now we're here, and it hasn't necessarily quite been clear why, though it's pretty clear in some ways. But it's also kind of sad and lonely, frankly. The lesser of two evils, because if I had to go back to the States, I'd get engaged in a legal battle to the point of blood. I mean, it's a miserable situation up there. The people in the family, I've hated the word for 30 years, and they've never proven me wrong. You'd think by now you'd prove me right, or prove me wrong. If you were going to prove me wrong, you would have done it by now, and now more than ever. But there's nobody on this channel I expect. This isn't for anybody's benefit. I don't expect anybody. They all think they're better than me. It's an abhorrent, depressing, miserable thing to overcome, to forgive in a vacuum, and it's drawn me into the arms of God in ways that, like yesterday, because I was having some stressful feelings. So one of the things I like about Mexico is that you can buy single cigarettes, and you don't have to buy a pack, and so you can buy singles, and I turned into a smoker a little bit last year after the mom news. She went home. She's in heaven, by the way, FYI, to anybody who might have anything to do with that, which again is probably nobody. But I quit because it's bad, and God doesn't want you to be a smoker, but He understands to a degree, I think. So I bought 2 cigarettes yesterday, and then I went back and bought 2 more, I think. And on the second trip, I decided to smoke one of them on the way back to the house from the tienda, and my lighter was clogged, like with lint, which has never, it makes sense, but it's never happened to me before, ever, and where your lighter all of a sudden just doesn't work, and it was kind of like, well, God's like saying, I don't want you to smoke right now, which is kind of cool because I feel like smoking some more right now, but I'm not going to, because God was kind of he sent me a hint. He's like, I know it's just 1 smoke, 2 smokes, but please don't. I smoked them anyway, but I felt bad about it. But So the point is that being here has, it's like following God's plan for your life is not going to be obvious. It's not going to be, and but it'll be clear in some ways. Like things will be it'll be obvious in some ways. Like there's obviously no way to stay in Jerome. There's obviously, it's like get out of Texas. Nothing wrong with Texas. It's my favorite country in the world, but just get out of Texas. I'm like, go back to Mexico. I've never had an easier time. I've had more difficulty getting on into Six Flags, than I have getting into Mexico this last time. So, and this place is not listed. This place was opened up. He had it planned out for me. Why? Well, I've been sitting here, it's been restful to a degree. The cat is happy, which is not always the case. And the neighbors are cool, which is not always the case. And it's affordable. So, and I like it. I like Mexico anyway. So, obviously the yard is beautiful. Incidentally, they have all the yards around here. Everybody's got 8-10-foot wall around their house. For what it's worth, it's kind of understood. It's just kind of the way they do it, whether the place has got the yard the size of a football field or a yard the size of a couple of parking spaces, there generally is a 10-foot wall around it, and in bad areas it's lined with concertina wire and or broken glass. So but here you don't need that as much. But the walls exist. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I just wanted to say, if you're in Jerome and you happen to be, go see Hood Cream tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock at Spook Hall, if you happen to be part of the festival. If not, go to the Spirit Room. I think he's playing today at the Spirit Room, Denver, my friend Denver. Tell him I said hi. He already knows. I've already said hi to him a couple times. Not quite, but whatever. We stay in touch. He's one of the few people in the States I stay in regular contact with. And check this guy out, man. He's legit. So anyway, too long. Vaya con Dios. Adios. Dios te bendiga. Hasta luego.